Council meetings are long and boring. Wouldn't it be great if they were short and unboring? This is why I've invented the 5-minute meeting. All right. Ashland City Council meeting of October 3rd. This one says, hey, proclamation for Indigenous Peoples Day. The city of Ashland supports the right and dignity of Indigenous people and agrees to reflect on their ongoing struggles and stand with them. And October 11th is Indigenous Peoples Day. And then the Public Art Commission's annual report, they said the Marking Ashland project is about to begin with bronze medallions being jammed into sidewalks, and the installation of the Railroad Park art piece is going to happen in 2022. And the new high school BIPOC mural is important and great. And then the Rogue Valley sewer system discussion. All right. I'm going to skip the usual play-by-play that I usually do, and because this was actually long and super informative presentation, so I'm going to try and summarize it. So the state has a lot of new and continuously changing wastewater requirements for wastewater treatment plants. So our little Ashland city is spending a lot on a lot of things. So some of the councilors wanted to look at local regional sewer groups to give us a bid and maybe take over, and maybe that saves us money. And Rogue Valley Sewer Systems, RVSS, controls Medford down to Talent and Gold Hill and a number of cities in the region. So it's logical that maybe they could add Ashland and we could save some money, maybe. So Rogue Valley Sewer Systems, RVSS, they showed up and dropped some knowledge. And they said, to start, they have an elected board, and Medford has members on the board. And so no matter what they talk about tonight in the future, nothing happens without a board meeting and a vote. And getting Ashland sewage to Talent, which is where their lines start or end or whatever, that's going to require new pipes and a pumping station. And they said the cost from Talent to the treatment plant that they own in Medford, they don't need any new infrastructure there. But once they get the treatment plant, they're going to have to build a lot of new stuff there. And the cost of those upgrades, $20 to $35 million. And FYI, Ashland's present average sewage bill is like $35 a month. And once things are set up, this RVSS, they're going to charge $10 a month. That's cheaper. But Ashland is still going to be like in charge of maintaining some local maintenance and in charge of billing levels, billing prices. And then, by the way, there are levels. The RVSS says, well, we can just like stop at the edge of Ashland and just like, charge you the $10 a month for treatment. Or we can take over all of your city sewage and hire all the city Ashland sewer workers and maintain the sewer lines, and then be the billing company. I think kind of like a Vista does for gas. They could do that too. And so here's the questions and responses went. And then here's your people. It's like, I like the wastewater treatment plant the way it is. And so this is a huge waste of important city time. And this one says, we've looked at this issue in the past, so that means it's been dealt with. So we should just move on. And then this one goes, yeah, well, there are new options. And I think we are presently just throwing money at a bad plan and at the water treatment plant. So I want to explore this more. And then this one says, I'm curious to explore cost savings. And Ashland should get out of the sewage business. And this one says, I'm all for looking seriously at this, and I want to make sure we are considering all the costs and not just screaming $10 a month versus $35 a month. And then this one says, what about environmental assessments and the effect on Bear Creek and SEEP and bonds? What are the effects of issuing public bonds and ratepayers effects? And then the public works guy said moving forward like 3 times. I always love that. And then this guy says, hey, city manager, what do you think on this new thing? And the city manager came with the thing, said something. He said, I worked for different cities, and where they outsourced all wastewater treatment operations to an engineering firm and saved 22% on their budget. And then the guy from the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife showed up, and these guys dropped this bomb. He said, the water discharge from Ashland's wastewater into Bear Creek has been a godsend to the fish, and is a major reason that fish are beginning to flourish in Bear Creek. And if the water is piped to Medford and to be treated, well then Bear Creek and the fish population is effed. I mean, But he goes, that's some big environmental info to consider. And then the Medford sewer guy said, he goes, oh, it's going to cost $250,000 just to study, to figure out how a legitimate engineering study, how much it will cost to upgrade Medford water treatment plant to handle Ashland's waste. So that Ashland would have to pay for that. And then Ashland city manager says, oh, it's going to cost us $200,000 just to study what needs to happen and how much it will cost to switch over all the sewer lines in the town. So, because we got to hire a bunch of outside people for that study. So this guy goes, that's some new money info. Based on that, I move for staff to present a plan and project the costs of that $200,000 Ashland internal review study and bring that back at the next meeting in 2 weeks. And this one says, she goes, hey, don't forget that, the city manager is outsourcing to the engineering firm idea. I like that. And then they voted 4-2. They said, staff's going to bring that back in 2 weeks. And these two went, no, we're against it. We don't want anything to happen. And then, here we are. There's no public forum. And then the city manager's report, and he said the permanent city manager hiring continues, and there are 13 applicants, and the city finance director hiring continues with 4 applicants. And then the consent agenda. Item 1 was approved, whatever that was. And item 2, this one goes, she goes, the forest clearing project is assigned to a for-profit group, Grayback, instead of a non-profit group, Lomakatsi. And everyone else goes, this is normal. Those guys are best friends. This is a thing. I don't know what you're arguing about. She goes, okay, never mind. And then appointing the city attorney. The interim city attorney is nominated as the permanent city attorney, and the mayor and the city manager interviewed a bunch of other people, and they both chose the interim one, Katrina Brown. She's our attorney for officially approved. And then a pollution discharge permit with a public works lady said, she said every 5 years the city applies for a new wastewater permit and negotiates with the state DEQ and the federal EPA, and things Ashland has to do based on that is they got to they got to finish relocating the plant outfall, and then 2 you have to do a water quality trading thing, and then 3, it's apparently a new thing, is there's cool water release schedule needs to be figured out from Reeder Reservoir, and bad news, moving that outflow at the number 1 thing is going to cost $1.8 million instead of $1.2 million. So that's a little bit more money for that scenario. And apparently that permit is still being discussed in public because of some environmental group questions. And then TID fees. The city manager said 190 citizens in town get TID water and pay the city a flat rate, and the city pays the TID $57,000 a year for TID water, and then collects $45,000 a year from the citizens. And the citizens are complaining because this year they didn't get much water, and they want a reduction because it's a drought and stuff like that. And so the city's already paid the TID, and any reduction in their costs would be paid for by all Ashland water users to make up for their whatever the reduction is. And so he says, I recommend no. And all the councilors said, we agree, no reduction in fees to the TID users. Too bad. And then hotel tax. There's some language change pursuant to some state requirements. And then this one said something about, she goes, boy, I want longer study sessions. 3 hours instead of 1.5 hours, because we're just not getting it done. And so she extended this meeting by 10 minutes, asking for another meeting to be extended. Gee, I wonder who is making meetings go longer. And then this one said, she goes, I'm working with the city manager, and we're rescheduling meetings, and so we'll look at adding longer meetings to stuff. And this one says, hey, I'm a liaison to the planning commission, and they're working on lots of cool stuff. They're doing great stuff. And that includes annexation ordinance change. FYI, everything's going great. And then that was the end of the meeting. That's the end. You're welcome.